On this week's Cosmic Cantina, due to popular demand, we venture forth into the cold tundra of the Antarctic. After going into the Earth's ever-shifting poles, I interview Billy Carson and chat about some of the amazing theories involving the South Pole. Then, Matt calls into question the tales involving Admiral Byrd's Antarctic expeditions, and Josh recounts a military insider who divulges some very mysterious military secrets. I'm your host, Melissa Tittle, and every week I go to my favorite bar, Cosmic Cantina, and kick back with my co-hosts, Josh Golembeski and Matt O'Connor. We talk about aliens, Bigfoot, ghosts, ancient cultures, and anything from the unseen world that needs a little illumination. Welcome to Cosmic Cantina. I'm your host, Melissa Tittle, and tonight we just did a shot of Fireside Colorado Bourbon Whiskey. You can check it out on our Instagram page. We are currently not social distancing, so we're not following the rules.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we are 6 feet apart, so...
Right now, but not
none
doing
of us
the shot.
None of us has touched.
Yeah. Doing a shot was wildly inappropriate.
Yeah.
But we'll be okay.
Yeah.
We'll be okay.
You can see it on... I just put it on Instagram stories if you want to check it out. Us being silly and... Anyway. Carry on.
And since we have a lot more time, because everybody's kind of working from home, we are drinking Seattle Cider's dry hard cider, which is amazing. It goes great as a chaser for the Fireside whiskey.
And let me tell you,
folks, it's gluten-free.
Okay, does anybody have any updates on the virus before we get into the show?
hell yeah.
Before we jump in, it's not all doom and gloom out there. There's a positive spin potentially on the coronavirus. I got a little light and love through a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours. Their wife was on a Facebook group, blah, 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 and a channeler posted a very interesting message. A channeler claiming that she channeled the coronavirus.
I love this so hard.
That's right.
Channeled the coronavirus.
Apparently you can channel viruses.
Yeah. All right.
She channeled the virus. It was a female voice, and apparently she's not here to do too much harm, because she's clearly doing harm, but to basically show us what's wrong with our fundamental systems and help us grow and change and evolve and to expand our consciousness. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to happen as we get through all this fire. I thought it was
it's a very progressive virus. I have to say, it really wants a lot of change.
Yeah, it's like when you get a wife and she's like, by the way, all these things you've been doing are wrong. They're bad for your health.
Yeah. I mean, right? I don't know what to say right now. My wife might listen.
It's funny. Like, I don't feel mad at the virus now. It's not being a complete arsehole.
Right.
It's being, look, I'm just changing things, guys.
Yeah.
Everyone just relax.
Everybody eat your broccoli.
No, not that bad. Besides the economy collapsing and killing a lot of people. It's totally going well.
It's totally going well.
Maybe that has to happen. I don't know.
Well, anyways, it was just a nice, different take on the coronavirus. And maybe it's all going to be okay, folks.
That was very nice, Josh.
Right.
You're welcome.
However, I have something else that's a little bit apocalyptic, and it's about the poles possibly changing, or that they have changed, and they've changed many times. So I found this article in National Geographic. It was a couple years ago when they really were discovering that magnetic north was moving very fast away from the North Pole towards Siberia. So basically, let me explain what that means. First, there's true north, which is the northern end of the axis, which our planet turns. But our planet's protective magnetic bubble, or magnetosphere, isn't perfectly aligned with that spin. Instead, the dynamic of the Earth's core creates a magnetic field that is slightly tilted for the planet's rotational axis. So, in the mid-1900s, the North Magnetic Pole was lumbering along at less than 100 feet each day. No big deal, right? Adding up to less than 7 miles of difference each year. But in the 90s, this started to change. By late 90s, early 2000s, Magnetic North was chugging along at some 34 miles each year.
So it's moving really quick then.
It's moving really quick. So basically, they're explaining they're explaining that so where the northern where it used to be in Canada is basically having a tug of war with Siberia, and they've always noticed that the Canadian side was stronger, but for some reason Siberia has taken over the power of the planet, and it's pulling magnetic north drastically to its side.
Oh, so the Russians.
So every time it moves, right? They have to. Yeah, exactly. Those Russians. What are they doing?
Now they want the poles. Come on.
They're so greedy.
No, we love you, Russia. Do it. This is over. We should move on immediately.
And cut. So every time it moves drastically, they have to reset all the control towers, all the digital material, because everything is aligned to the other point of magnetic north, and so everything gets wonky, right? Mm-hmm. And it's moving so fast, they're trying to figure out a different infrastructure for this.
Do they know what's causing it to pull one way or the other?
Well, there's definitely they don't. It's just that one side of the Earth is actually getting a stronger pull than the other side to it, but it has
so
to.
It's
do,
natural. It's happening naturally.
It's naturally, but it has to do with what's happening in the core of the Earth. But another theory. The reason I bring this up is because we're going to kind of get into Atlantis.
Ooh.
And so a lot of theories out there are suggesting that the reason why Atlantis, the great civilization, fell into the ocean was that there was a pole shift.
Interesting. So
this was a bunch of data collected by several different scientists. And it goes something like this. So before 9700 BC, the Earth's magnetic poles were located the other way around. So the South Pole was in the Atlantic near Greenland, 45th meridian. So then, of course, the North Pole was right off the Antarctica coast.
Okay.
45th meridian. All right, so they're proposing that the Earth's magnetic field was compacted by a solar flare of some sorts. It made a complete shift. It created massive earthquakes, volcano eruptions, mantles and shifts were moving. Literally, the planet was like completely refunctioning itself because the poles switched so drastically. It's not like they're moving fast towards Russia. It was like instantly overnight. The poles had shifted.
Like a complete 180-degree shift or just a massive shift?
No, a complete 180-degree shift.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Which caused all these different
everything.
land masses to move. Right?
Yeah, of course.
So, the reason
I say, of course, like I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of
I know
course.
science, bro.
Oh, yeah.
in your past life, you remember that in Atlantis?
Yeah, I was in technology and science as a Syrian a couple thousand lifetimes ago. I know this shit.
That's right. Pleiades, yeah.
And now I'm just slinging alien bids.
We met there. Yeah. Anyway, so pole shift, complete utter reversal, pole shift.
Complete, utterly reversal.
Madness, yeah.
Complete madness. So I bring this up because a lot of people that have been following our podcast have brought up, can you do something on Antarctica? And I know we could do anything on Antarctica, but I really wanted to talk about what is Antarctica, like what does it represent? Because there's all these theories out there. Like there's secret bases, maybe there's alien beings.
It
I don't
really
know.
has like exploded recently in this scene.
It's like an obsession.
Yeah, and I don't want to mention names again, but there was a couple of prominent people who really tried to push this idea of it being like these huge, like crazy bases with aliens in there, and I'm not saying that's not true. But it doesn't sound true. But
well, the truth might be somewhere in between.
It might be somewhere in between.
Yeah, but it might be somewhere in between.
So it just got this huge amount of attention recently, and I don't know why that is. It was just. I don't know. Linda Moulton Howe has been like huge into it, and a lot of people.
Yeah,
have.
she did a documentary about it.
Buzz Aldrin. Is that the right guy? Yeah. That's Buzz Lightyear. God, I always say it wrong.
Buzz Lightyear.
Buzz Aldrin had that tweet
Lightyear.
that may or may not be true, that he was like, I saw evil, and I saw evil itself. And there was a shot of a pyramid, but it turned out to be bullshit, the tweet. Everyone got all hot and bothered by it. Because John Kerry went down to the Antarctica, and they sent a bunch of, like,
that's right.
Why would they ever send them that high up in the chain of government command down there? And then Buzz Aldrin went down there, and I don't know.
Well, there's been a lot of people that go down. So the thing is like, I think that because there's so much buzz, there has to be something going on.
Sure.
So I interviewed this guy named Billy Carson.
Billy!
And
Love
if
Billy.
you don't know who Billy is, he's the founder of ForbiddenKnowledge.inc. He's best-selling author of the Emerald Tablets. And he's also an expert host on Deep Space on Gaia and Ancient Civilizations, if you watch those series. He's also a co-founder of the United Family of Anomaly Hunters. Their
Just
purpose,
an all-round great guy,
I know.
to be honest.
He just knows everything.
Yeah.
Their mission is to provide evidence of past, present life on Earth, as well as other celestial bodies inside of our solar system. So that's Billy Carson. I did this interview with him about Antarctica, and what he alludes to is that Antarctica used to be in a different place, completely different than when you think you think it might be. It's not attached to South America. This shift happened where Antarctica is now because of the pole shift. But his view is that what you're going to find there is going to prove that Atlantis did exist, and that is why so many people are there. So check out this interview.
When you look at ancient history and you discover that the Atlanteans were a global civilization, you become to realize that there may be remnants of that civilization under ice. And the reason why is because Antarctica most likely was in a different place geologically on the planet Earth. And I'm estimating that it moved there because of a pole shift of the crust of the planet of Earth itself, which would have caused the crust to shift, for it to shift into that position very rapidly, and then for a global flood to occur, which would have put water above it. And in that frozen or cold area, cold region, it would have definitely created gigantic ice sheets over what was there, kind of hiding it. And this is why when we look at the animals that get discovered now due to a lot of the ice melting, they have fresh, undigested food in their stomachs, which means that they were rapidly frozen, and that this shift happened in a very rapid pace. So when you look at Antarctica itself and you start researching, what's there, you begin to realize that there's about 70 bases, research bases is what they call them, and in Antarctica. So you have about 23 countries or so that are representing every continent on the planet Earth that are there right now in Antarctica doing a lot of research. And why would they be there doing this research? Because they have found what a lot of researchers, out here just through the internet and through Google Sky and Google Earth and everything else have found. They found remnants of an ancient civilization there, I believe. I believe the same reason why Hitler was, so enthralled about Antarctica and the Nazis. I think that there's things down there that are anomalies and that don't belong. And I think remnants of ancient technology are down there, and remnants of the ancient Atlantean civilization as well.
And where do you think the continent of Antarctica, where do you think it was actually, was it actually placed? You said that it shifted from somewhere else. Was it further up close to the Azores, or was it closer to South America? Like what is your thought process on that?
Yeah, I think that it was possibly closer maybe to the Azores. Definitely in a warmer region where there would have been maybe at least 4 seasons of the year, not just this, permanent frost. And one of the things that's really amazing is one of our researchers at the United Family of Anomaly Hunters actually discovered the pyramid first. He was the very first person to actually discover it and bring out the gigantic pyramid that's there in Antarctica, which made it onto an episode of Ancient Aliens and a couple of other shows as well. So this pyramid structure is larger than the one at Giza. So the Giza pyramid is pretty large, but this is about twice as large as that one.
Crazy. So how do you have evidence of that, of what this in Antarctica looks like?
Well, thankfully, we have the Google Sky Images, which gives us access to see not only the anomalies that are there, including the 35-meter wide opening that all the research bases are right next to, but also this gigantic pyramid, which is also pretty close to them as well, which is, to me, pretty astounding. And I think there's a possibility, I'm not for sure, but there's a possibility that we may be in contact with some of these potential beings that are there, because I remember when Buzz Aldrin was invited to go down there, a lot of world leaders went down there as well. And Buzz Aldrin made a very cryptic tweet about ultimate evil, something that we were facing an ultimate evil. Then, he deleted it later, but a lot of people had already screenshotted it by then. And then they rushed him out of there and said he wasn't feeling too well. So I think there's something really going on down there that really, I'd love to be able to go down there and see exactly what they saw. Why would world leaders want to go to Antarctica? And why would Buzz Aldrin make a tweet like that? Something is really going on, and it's not being made open to the general population, as well as these gigantic openings that you can see from Google Earth that are just magnificent, artificially created openings. Where do they lead to, and why are they there?
Right. And so you think that there's actually beings still in those pyramids, even though they're buried in snow and ice? Or are there beings coming down to make contact with the world leaders at this old kind of ceremonial ground?
It could be a combination. One thing I do believe is that these